The cultural Marxist and cultural appropriation. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. First they came for Nikki Ashton, and I said nothing. Actually, I laughed and mocked the whole ordeal. Then they came for Hal Niedzwiecki, and I said, who? Then they came for Jonathan Kay, but I missed that because I wasn't on Twitter much over the weekend to watch the cultural Marxists devour his position as editor of The Walrus. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you know or even care about the three people I've just mentioned, you should, because they've been attacked or lost their jobs because of a ridiculous notion that, yes, actually does come from cultural Marxism, and it's called cultural appropriation. Unfortunately, this crazy idea is spreading. I've said for a long time that the bad ideas of the political left are the opposite of those bad ideas that we get while drunk at 2 a.m. in Vegas. We all know the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But when it comes to wacky lefty ideas, they don't stay where they originate. They spread like a bad infection. And so the concept of cultural appropriation is spreading. A little while back, Nikki Ashton, New Democrat MP running for the NDP leadership, put out a social media post that drew on the song Irreplaceable by Beyonce and the lyrics, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now, Ashton was blasted for cultural appropriation for taking the work of a black woman, so she took down the post. The song was actually written by Neo, and a Norwegian songwriting collective based in New York City. So a team of Norwegian and American artists, black and white, wrote the song. What culture is that? What's being appropriated? Didn't matter. Ashton was guilty. She quickly offered her mea culpa and apologized. More recently, Hal Niedzwiecki, the editor of the magazine for the Writers' Trust, wrote, I don't believe in cultural appropriation. In my opinion, anyone, anywhere, should be encouraged to imagine other peoples, other cultures, other identities. That was a sin, saying he didn't believe in an academic theory. He challenged the current orthodoxy. Isn't that what bold writers should do? But literary types, well, they like to claim to be bold, but they're actually acting like sheeple here. And now Jonathan Kay, former National Post writer and editor turned editor of The Walrus, wrote in defense of Niedzwiecki in a column in the Post. He even alluded to his potential to lose his job for not genuflecting before the altar of cultural appropriation. The piece was posted late on Friday. By Saturday night, Kay was gone as top dog at The Walrus, all over cultural appropriation, a concept foreign to most and offensive to any mall food court. So what the heck is it? Oxford describes it as this, a term used to describe the taking over of creative or artistic forms, themes, or practices by one cultural group from another. Well, that can include all kinds of things, food, art, clothing. One professor at the University of Victoria tried to claim that the canoe is a subject of cultural appropriation, and anyone that paddles a canoe that isn't Aboriginal is guilty of colonialism.
So should we look at the canoe as a non-controversial symbol, or should we look at it as a symbol of colonialism?
Absolutely a symbol of colonialism. It seems to me that this narrative we tell ourselves about the canoe, about how canoeing makes us in touch with nature, how canoeing makes us in some way guiltless of the terrible things that the Canadian government and Canadians in general did to First Nations people. It's a myth, and we need to see that narrative obscures a narrative that we need to place ourselves in personally. We need to place ourselves there and understand ourselves to be part of that narrative of colonial dispossession.
I wish that I was making this stuff up, that this was satire. It's not. From what I can gather from these cultural Marxists, we all need to retreat into our own ethnic corners, only use, consume, produce, and wear what comes from our own culture. I thought the idea was that we were supposed to embrace each other's cultures, learn from each other. These theories behind what's being pushed, well, this would have everyone retreat into their own ethnic and cultural corners like boxers in a never-ending fight. Well, how far do we take that? Who gets to wear pants or suits? What about shirts with buttons? Which culture invented those? We know the Croatians invented the tie, and the French popularized it because they thought Croatian soldiers looked so fabulous on the battlefield. Do we all need to stop wearing ties? What about toques? They keep us warm in the winter. We wear them straight across Canada, but let's face it, that's a French-Canadian invention, like poutine. I guess we need to stop wearing toques and eating poutine. The airplane that was invented, developed by the Wright brothers. They were American, but they had English, Dutch, German, and Swiss heritage. So do we limit flying on airplanes to people of those heritages? The TV was developed by a Scotsman, John Logie Baird. Nothing is as central to culture over the past 50 to 60 years as TV. It's been appropriated by everyone. I say now no one can watch TV except for the Scots. And by the way, I had egg rolls at the Golden Palace in Ottawa today. Was I engaging in cultural appropriation or colonialism by having delicious egg rolls? I'd like to dismiss this cultural Marxism as insanity, which it is, but it's insanity that costs people jobs, and obviously it's spreading beyond the nutty confines of academia, with both the Writers' Union and the Walrus, left-wing publications to be sure, embracing this cultural Marxism. It's getting a foothold in the mainstream. If you thought we were all supposed to embrace multiculturalism and each other's cultures, then think again. The rules are changing, often at the whim of obscure academic theories that have little impact on the real world, until they come for you and cost you your job. If you liked the Rebel video you just watched, click here to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to Rebel Canada, make sure you do that for all the Trudeau news the others don't see fit to print.